there's something that's on your mind. Hank was mentioning earlier some of the lesser, I don't want to call them lesser,
Well,
some of the less familiar offices that are also up for election, like the committee seats. I was needing to explain to some people some of those responsibilities.
Well, I wanted to talk first before there's a rally going on tomorrow. State free AC rally, basically wrapped around what's going on here.
Yes,
a lot of folks are
When
going there. So it's tomorrow at June 3rd in front of the Boardwalk Hall.
What time?
I don't even have a time on that. I know that we're going to get a phone call from some folks earlier. We talked to some folks later on, so we'll have some phone callers on that. And so if you want to call in and participate on talking about the rally tomorrow for the water and about the state takeover.
Keep your hands off of water and get out of
the pilot. And you know that, Kevin, I was originally saying my whole original thing about the state takeover and things like that was the only way to fight the state takeover was all these different groups who had something that the state was really trying to rip away from them. We were divided at first, thinking about individual situations, and everybody's worried about, well, as long as they're not bothering me, boo, woo, woo. And what we needed to do was bring all the groups together. Sep Grossman, Steve Young, some of these other groups, Police Fire, blue collar, white collar, all the other different unions, the community, people, the water department. All these different, the county, the other municipalities that it affects that's going to have to pay these additional taxes and things like that. Mm-hmm. All these different groups initially was thinking for themselves, as we do normally. Mm-hmm. And now what is it about? And not just about the water, it's about everything. We can't continue always to think about what's best for me and what I'm getting out of it. And as long as then it's not about me, as long as it's not in my community, as long as it's not in my neighborhood, it doesn't affect you. And so, you don't care about it, and you don't have a concern, and you can't understand the effects of the things that are going on.
Or you do understand it and you feel that you are powerless to do anything to try to change it. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Hank.
Well, the unity collective, Kevin.
You've really been railing for quite a while just about the lack of trying to bring the electorate up, to make them more engaged and more aware of the election and what it means to be a participant in this civic responsibility, et cetera, et cetera. And, a lot of times when, we overhear some things happening, last minute rallies and all of that sort of thing, the first thing that we start thinking about is, was this intended to not get the maximum amount of people out there, to get the maximum amount of information that's going to increase the likelihood that people will want to support a particular candidate? I mean, it just seems like they say, if I can just kind of muscle my little section, I'm going to be happy, and I just don't understand that, and I haven't understood that.
And that's how it's been.
Yes.
People's little section here and there.
Yes.
But it's a collective situation. It's a collective agenda, and the state and the powers that be understand that the court of public opinion changes everything in America right now. Mm-hmm. The court of public opinion, when the people stands up and everyone's complaining about certain situations, you can stop them from doing anything right now if the court of public opinion says so. And so what we have to do is understand and realize that we have that particular power. And when we diminish that particular power is when we're taking issues and sides for small-minded types of things and things that they put in play to divide us.
Well, I mean, and again, you say that is the plan. The question is, what culpability do we have in allowing the plan to work? I mean, here you are making sure that people understand what they're trying to do, or at least in your opinion, and still there's no one trying to make sure that we do something about it, even with the knowledge that you might be passing along.
Well, Kevin, it's a difficult situation. Right. It's years and years of propaganda. Just like the Russians, they talk about the Russians, they the best that ever did it. But the U.S. is the best that ever did it. As far as propaganda and putting in the information in the mainstream in the media and using them to manipulate the community, the people of the U.S. to feel a certain way when they want you to be patriotic, or they want you to feel this way about this situation or that way, you know what I mean? They've always done it, and it's so embedded and entrenched to the mentality, and they've done it so well that we you know what I mean, are really unconscious to really what has happened to us.
Well, okay, well, you know me, as much self, awareness and responsibility as is possibly possible. When you're talking about any kind of problems, especially when you're talking about a social problem like this. And a lot of times, I will be 100% down with someone who wants to really fight a particular issue. But I always like to fight those issues with an increasing amount of aggressiveness. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you start out by trying to be nice about the thing and saying, look, this is a particular issue. How are you going to address it? And if they continue to stand in the way or stonewall you or something like that, you eventually get to a point where you explode. And I'm hoping that, even on the show program here, we are able to tell people, look, you don't want to have to always be so reactionary to something that, we could have handled in a lesser reactionary way.
Well, a point that I'm trying to make is let's take the opioid situation that's going on in America right now. Back in the 60s in our communities, and when the opioid situation was going on and it's prevalent and it destroyed, and the destruction that it had within our community and all these other particular suburbs and other places and communities that never had to deal with that particular thing. And now, 2017, when it's destructive through all these suburbs and wherever else you go, opioids have destroyed family, and you can see the destruction and what it is. Before that, these particular people was looking like that's their problem, that's their issue. It's not in my community. I don't understand. I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? And that's the same situation that we have with with voting in the electoral situation, with the same thing with politics. Many people have been brainwashed in the way that, you know what I mean, and bought into a lot of things that they just don't understand. And if it's not happening to me, you know what I mean? It's not happening. It's not happening. If it's not happening in my neighborhood, if it's not happening to me, if it's not something that I'm subjected to, it's not happening. Mm-hmm. And so until it happens to them. And Donald Trump and everything else that's going on in this world right now is bringing everything to their front door. And at some point, even the one that's denying, people that are denying things that are going on and how the government works and how they really are not working for the people. How many of the politicians, not all the politicians, but many of them, majority, are really working for keeping the status quo or keeping their job, keeping their title, and satisfying corporations.
Okay. Hey, listen, you agree with Hank? You disagree with Hank? Well, give us a call. We don't care either way. 927-1100 is how you get in. Much more of the Kevin Hall Show program is going to be coming your way right here on
News Talk 1400 WOND.
7 years. Chris Christie's Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno had over 7 years to fix things and failed. New Jersey has the highest property taxes in the nation.